Hey Curtis, congratulations on the win here at UFC 221. Talk to us about early on in the fight where Mark landed some significant strikes. What was going on in your head, and talk to us about the sequence where you took him down.
When he landed those heavy strikes, he definitely rocked me. My vision went black for like 2 seconds, and I heard my cornerman screaming takedown. I knew I should get the takedown, and that's why he was able to get up so quickly. 'Cause I wasn't really like in it, so I got the takedown. It gave me enough time just to recover, and then from there I kind of knew my range, and I knew where not to be. So from there I knew I had to continue with the takedown. I knew it would gas him out and help me get the W.
You compared him to a legend like Michael Jordan. What's it feel like? I mean, you have a win over a legend now in MMA.
It feels great. I hope I start getting the respect I deserve. I hope I get in the UFC video game. Like that feels like a big bummer. Like, how am I not in the game? Two of the guys I've already beat, Mark Hunt and Alexei Olenek, are both in the game, and I'm not. So I feel like that's a bit disrespectful. But hopefully that gets remedied.
Apart from the game, what other indicators did you have that you weren't really getting the respect that you deserve? Did you feel it from fans, from other fighters? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh, the fans. You guys got some good fans out here. They love their Mark Hunt. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. No.
Of course, it's a big wing. Mark Hunt is a huge name. It's still early on, but now that you've got this big momentum going on behind you, what are you thinking next? I mean, the next opponent would be a big one.
Anyone in the top 5, Kane, Alistair, Verdum. I'm not going to call anyone out. I haven't earned that right. I know I'm still young, but I do want to get on the Chicago card. That's the only thing I will ask for. I want to get on that Chicago card. I want to feel this. I want to have my fans screaming my name, booing my opponent.
It's interesting that you mentioned Kane, because we're still waiting on finding out who his opponent will be. A lot of people are excited to see him return. Are you putting your hand up to possibly be his opponent?
That's not what I do. I'm just saying anyone ranked above me is worthy. I'm literally only 26 years old. I'm just ranked in the top 10. I will take whoever they give me.
Hey Curtis, obviously a little bit of a change of platform here fighting in Perth. What was it like fighting so early in the day? I imagine that's a bit different for you.
Yeah, that was different. Waking up, I usually wake up around like 11, and then I have a couple hours to chill, get my mind right. So that was a bit different, but we persevered. I had to go through the same thing all the fighters that traveled here went through, and half of us made it, half of us couldn't. So I'm happy to be on the half that did make it.
Was there anything different that you had to do during the week? Like, were you going to bed extremely early, or was it just as usual?
I couldn't help but go to bed. The first 2 or 3 days, I was passing out around 6, 7 o'clock, getting up at like 4 or 5, and I tried to like slowly prolong my bedtime until I could get it to like 11. Like last night, I went to bed at 11. I woke up today at like 6, which was the best I could do.
You touched on that moment where Mark Hunt landed some big shots on you. I guess how much confidence does that give you, being able to survive that? And did you learn something about yourself in this fight? Maybe your chin, maybe your toughness. Did you prove something to yourself?
I knew what I already knew. I debuted against Francis Ngannou, who is the heavy. I will give him that. He is the heaviest hitter I've ever faced. He is harder than Mark Hunt. No disrespect to Mark Hunt. They both hit hard, but we're splitting hairs here, but Ngannou hits harder. And I already knew I had a chin. I've taken shots from everyone. I get hit. I don't have the best head movement. I'm a wrestler, so I get hit a lot. I know I have a chin. I know I have heart. I'm a wrestler. We all have heart. So I didn't really learn anything else new. I knew I belonged already. I'm just hoping everyone else learns something new about me.
When you were naming some of those names in the top 5, one of the names that you didn't mention was Francis Ngannou. How important is it for you to get that rematch and sort of avenge that loss?
That rematch will happen. I'm not going to force it. I don't have to beg for it. We're both one of the young. Well, he's like 5 years older than me, but we're both one of the younger heavyweights in the division right now. And I know the UFC is looking to have exciting matchups, and it has a storyline where both he's French, I'm American. It just creates itself. It's going to happen. Not Russian.
You mentioned respect before. Do you feel like if you guys did rematch, obviously you were the betting favorite in the first fight. Do you think that you'd be, I guess, a lot more leaned in? I guess you'd be more of a favorite in this one, given how his last fight played out, and given the excellent wrestling that you displayed in this fight.
Maybe, but that's not for me to worry about. Betting, I don't bet, and favorite or not, doesn't matter. You have to go in there and do what you have to do. So I don't really think about none of that stuff. But if we do fight, I do believe I'm going to win the fight.
A couple of things for me. Also, do you feel like, you being a young guy in the division, in a division that's obviously filled with a lot of veterans, is sort of exactly what the heavyweight division needs right now?
Yeah, I feel like every division's going like generational cycles. We've had the Frank Mir, Brock Lesnar, Alice, all those guys. They're all nearing the end. Some of them are already gone, like the Roy Nelsons and the Barnetts. But there's a couple of them still hanging around. But I think it's time for the next wave to get in there and make names for ourselves.
Awesome. Congrats. How are you going to celebrate tonight? Any plans?
I'm getting drunk. I don't know where.
Hey, Curtis. Your strategy seemed to be that you were happy to stand on your feet with Mark at the beginning, and then it's when you got tagged that you went back to the wrestling. And then that seemed to be the strategy for the rest of the fight. Did Mark tagging you change your strategy for the rest of the fight, or was that always going to be kind of what the game plan you had?
That was always my game plan. I am not a fool. I had no aspirations of standing and trying to bang with Mark Hunt so he can knock my head off. That was always the game plan. I am the better wrestler. Why not use it? And I trained in Denver. We're a mile up in the air. There's no elevation here in Perth. I knew I'd be the better conditioned athlete. I knew wrestling would gas him out a lot faster than standing and banging at his own pace. So I wanted to dictate where we went. On the feet, he's a lion. On the ground, I'm a shark. I wanted to drag him into deep waters. That's what I did.
And you mentioned Chicago. There's been a lot of injuries from this card. Are you fully healthy, ready to return?
There's a slight tweak in my knee, but I'm hoping to get a couple weeks off, get some recovery on it, and get back to training. But yeah, I want to get on that Chicago card. I feel like I was passed over after I lost to Ngannou. He got to fight in Chicago against Bojan's something, and he destroyed him, and I just feel like that was my spot. Had I beat Ngannou my debut fight, I would have been in Chicago. I haven't been home since, I haven't had a fight at home since 2014. It's been a long, long time. I really want to go home and fight.